been a crazy week. A lot of action has been going on in the NFT market, so let's go ahead and break it down. So the first thing we're gonna start off with is the sentiment of what's going on in the NFT markets using OpenSea, and we're just looking at the volume for the top projects, right? And as we can see, and this is what we're really gonna talk about today, Bored Ape, Meebits, CryptoPunks has been getting a ton of volume in anticipation for the Ape Coin. We're gonna get into that, but I just wanna say, first of all, that a lot of these projects are starting to get a lot of volume, especially in the last 7 days, the last 24 hours. Not all projects, but definitely some projects. So there's some action kind of going on, but for a lot of other projects, it's a little bit dry. And just to give you an idea of like what's going on in the sentiment, back in, let's say January, that was the peak of NFT euphoria in terms of like people being interested in NFTs, right? Now, obviously from there, it was at 100% here and then all the way down to 28. So that's why things have been a little dry. There's not a lot of liquidity, but hopefully there's gonna be some more liquidity action going on with the anticipation of the Ape Coin drop. So what is Ape Coin? How do you get involved and how do you make a little money doing this, right? So essentially Ape Coin is going to be the official coin by Yuga Labs for the Bored Ape Yacht Club ecosystem, and that includes Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, as well as Bored Ape Kennel Club. And as you know, BAYC is the top project right now when it comes to volume traded, and they do have some of the highest floor prices being at over 107 ETH. The Mutants are gonna be 23 ETH, and then the dogs are gonna be 8.5 ETH. Personally, my prediction is that the dogs probably will pump a little bit because people are gonna be like, oh, I can't afford a Mutant Ape, let me buy a dog, right? And again, pumps are temporary, it doesn't mean it's gonna go up forever, right? Okay, so when we are going to apecoin.com, which is the official website of the Bored Ape, the utility of it is basically you're gonna be able to make proposals, vote on stuff, and the community can direct, okay, where is the direction of this project going to go? And of course, Yuga Labs is the one that owns it, so it's not like the collectors really own anything, they just own the NFT that represents something. But yeah, you can kind of vote. It makes you feel like, you're really part of it and your vote really matters and you're part of a community. So you can imagine that if they were having a vote saying something like, should we have an event in Texas? If they get enough votes, then maybe that event will happen, right? And so there are many different ideas that they can do. I'm just giving a random example, but essentially anyone can come up with any idea and, if you get the votes, you get the votes. Now, the other thing you can use the coin for is for a video game. This company called Nway Play, they officially announced that they have a teaser over here for an official game, Play to Earn, made with Bored Ape YC, and it's adopting the Ape Coin. So, this is a little teaser. There's not too much to it, but we have a studio actually making a real game for it. And so when it comes to the token, the value of a token comes from what is the demand going to be for the token? How are people going to be using that token? Can you redeem your tokens for in-game items? And when you get those items, can you play the game and then make money, right? And so there's this whole ecosystem. The Ape Coin is going to be the center of it, and it's how people are going to transact in this ecosystem. Coinbase recently announced this new asset label called Experimental Assets, and the Ape Coin is going to be one of the first coins to do this. Essentially, these are going to be coins that are newer, higher risk maybe, lower trading volume, and they're not like established coins like Ethereum is, for example, right? And they have to label like, hey, this is risky. But this is really nice because it's interesting that if the Ape Coin comes out and people are able to buy it on Coinbase directly and they don't have to deal with like MetaMask or Uniswap or whatever they're using for swapping, it's gonna get like a lot of liquidity into this token. So I think this is gonna be like one of the biggest liquidity events or like biggest volume events where people are going to move a lot of money into the NFT space. And hopefully it brings a lot of new eyeballs into the space. Hopefully people talk about it on the news so that more money can come into the market. And then we can jump out of this bear and get back to a bull. But if not, it's cool. So if we're looking at where the tokens are gonna go, essentially when I kind of did the math, it's only about like 18% of the people who are holding Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, and Kennels, they're gonna get like airdrop free tokens, right? So you just hold a thing, you get a bunch of free tokens, right? Actually, all the other tokens go to the creators of Yuga Labs, right? So the BAYC founders, launch contributors, so people who helped build the technology and all that stuff, and people who supported the project. We have charity, Yuga Labs, 6.25 going to charity, and then the rest going to Yuga Labs, the company. And then the ecosystem fund goes into the DAO, the treasury, which is resources to build the company. And then it's actually like 18% when you actually do all the math that go to the actual holders. So the holders aren't actually getting a whole lot of the tokens, 18%. Well, I mean, it's free, so you can't really complain, but essentially they need this money to kind of build the ecosystem to make the token valuable, right? Which makes sense, because if you gave all the tokens to the holders, what if they just sell it and it goes to zero, right? And so that's why there has to be like lockup periods, people have to hold it, people have to use it if they want to see this as a long-term project. And to give you a brief history, and this guy kind of posted some pictures, essentially if we look at the other airdrops that happened in the past, let's kind of learn from this, take a little lesson and see what might happen to the Ape Coin, right? Uniswap, right? Everyone knows what Uniswap is. You use it to buy and sell tokens. When there was a drop, it pumped up and then it kind of dumped down, right? And it seems like for Rarible as well, which is the marketplace for buying and selling NFTs, kind of pumped up, up and then kind of like went back to like where it started, right? So it's got super rare, pumped up, kind of went down again. Looks rare was one of the most recent ones. Everyone got airdropped, right? If you use OpenSea, you got airdropped something, so you know, pumped up. Everyone's like, oh my god, like looks rare is the OpenSea killer, right? And then so people are buying and boom, 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 and then next thing you know, everybody dumps to a certain point, right? So I'm seeing a common trend. So what I'm probably guessing, and again, I'm not like a super experienced like trader when it comes to like alternative coins. You know, people get the token. What's gonna happen is that maybe people buy the token in the beginning, and then people are like, oh, I got some free tokens, let me sell it, and then they sell it over here, and then all the traders are like, oh damn, you know, I just got, you know, it was $5 and now it's like $3, so let me go buy some because it's a dip, it's gonna bounce back, and then they start selling on you over here. And then the suckers who, you know, hear the news later, they hear it on the blog or YouTubers all talking about it, right? You like me, and then they're gonna buy the top at $7, and then what's gonna happen is all the traders and stuff, they're gonna sell it, and then boo, boo, boo. If you are looking to buy the ape token and you're not getting free airdrop token, you have to really mind your entry and exit point. Usually you wanna buy the dip when that happens because, you know, if there's enough volume, there's enough demand, you know, usually it bounces back. Like if there's a 50% drop, kind of a higher chance that it was gonna come up, but if you're kind of buying the top, right, and it's always, and a lot of times it just dips. So what I would do, I was buy the dip and kind of dollar cost average in, and then as it goes up, you know, you take steady profits and you don't get too greedy. But again, dude, everybody has their own strategy. I'm not a fortune teller, so you want to do your own research and make sure to join my Discord if you want to talk about that, but check it out. And one more thing I want to say is that when we're really thinking about Yuga Labs and their whole ecosystem, right now, the top 4 projects are all under Yuga Labs. And it's really interesting because crypto and NFTs was supposed to be like super decentralized, but what we're seeing is that a lot of the energy and attention and money is flowing into some of the top projects, and we see the top 4 is owned by the same company. So it's really an interesting thing to be mindful of, especially when you buy into projects, because by understanding where all the attention is going to go, right, especially mainstream adoption, those are the projects that would typically do well because attention equals money in this industry. In other news, we're gonna be talking about Karafuru real quick. They got a quick update on the Hypebeast and Atmos collaboration. There's going to be 15,555 3D NFTs, 5,555 is going to be reserved for Genesis Karafuru holders, and I am one myself, so I'm looking forward to getting this 3D avatar. They got whitelist spots and it's gonna be available for the public. So honestly, the 3D is looking pretty good in my opinion. I think a lot of companies don't really do 3D models that well, but because Karafuru comes from like streetwear and they come from like making toys and they're collaborating with Hypebeast, so I'm pretty sure the style's gonna be good, the silhouettes are gonna be good. You can kind of see it from here, but yeah, pretty bullish on that. And here's a little update of what the Carnival is gonna look like. It's pretty impressive that they're pulling off like some kind of like physical event people can hang out at, and they're making all these custom like blow up balloons. So, you know, I'm gonna be going to Jakarta for this, so I will see you guys there if you are there. In other news, Blockworks, which is a huge bank, is the first major bank to enter the sandbox universe. I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? HSBC Bank, it's kind of like Chase or like Bank of America if you're living in America and you don't know what this is, but they are buying some land in the sandbox, and how are they gonna use it? I really have no idea, but you know, a lot of companies are buying land in the sandbox. A lot of people are building in it. I feel like a lot of these companies, even though they're not really like NFT native and they're not really like doing much in NFTs, if they wanna kind of be on the forefront of advertising, well, they're just buying land in the sandbox. So every time someone comes in the sandbox, if they have like something cool that people want to check out, then it's literally free advertising, right? So if you think about it, if you're HSBC and you want the younger generation to sign up for your credit cards and they're like, oh my God, they have a really cool sandbox experience, maybe one day you might want to bank at this company because you kept hearing about them, right? So I think there are going to be a lot of different use cases for, you know, virtual land, because it's like, this is literally just like attention, right? Like you're selling attention. Buying land is like buying real estate, right? There's certain areas that you want people's attention, you want them to come to your store, or maybe you want them to see your billboard, and then you're able to make money that way. So it's really nice to see that larger companies that are like these huge banks are entering the metaverse. In other news, when it comes to Cyberkongz, right, which is one of the projects that are kind of building more organically and quietly versus like BAYC, people are starting to get their charms, right? Basically, you have a baby, you earn these charms, and you're selling it on OpenSea. So we don't really know what the true value of these prices are quite yet, because people are still playing the game. They're still trying to figure out how to make money in the game, but people are actually buying these charms. Literally, it just happened like in the last 24 hours, but you know, this one was sold for 0.55. The cheapest one was sold for 0.3. That's pretty nice, right? Because I have like a few babies myself, so if they're making like a couple $1,000s a month, then that's pretty nice passive income. One thing I do want to say when it comes to like these play to earn games, when you're starting out in any ecosystem, let's say like Cyberkongz, for example, Kaiju Kings, maybe or Yacht Club to an extent, whenever they come out with some kind of game, it kind of feels like whoever was early first, who got the first generation, they kind of feel like they're reaping all the benefits, and then everyone that comes after, they're just getting like these secondary kind of benefits, and it's like not that valuable relative to like being first. The thing I have to say about this, like being first in the ecosystem, pays off exponentially more than being late later. You can be a couple months earlier to a project, and because you got the genesis and you just held it, whatever your passive reward is, it could be like 10 times the amount of the next generation. Being early and just holding definitely is a huge benefit. And at the same time, if you're getting into an ecosystem later on, right? Let's say you're just entering the NFT space and you're hearing me talk about like Cyberkongz and Kaiju Kings and stuff like that. And you're like, well, I only have like 1 or 2 ETH, so how can I afford to get into this ecosystem? You still can, and there are earning benefits. For example, VX Cyberkongz, there is an earning benefit to that, but it feels very small in a sense. And sometimes it might feel like this is a whale game, like only the people who have a bunch of money or people who are OGs, they're the ones that are making all the money. And I totally understand that sentiment, and to a degree, it is true because crypto rewards people who are early. That's just the nature of the game. How I look at it is, number one, don't be mad at the game. That's just the way it played out. And if you are kind of late to the game, well, at least you're getting something, right? At least you're getting some passive income, some kind of passive reward, even though you're late to the game and you're just spending 1 or 2 ETH, right? So just don't be mad about it. Understand that's just the nature of the game. Number two is that if you're not really feeling that ecosystem and you feel like it's too difficult to climb up in that ecosystem, well, just understand that every day people are creating new NFT projects for you to take a chance on. Again, it's a risk, and enjoying that ecosystem early. And hopefully if that project takes off, then you will be one of the OGs, a couple months later, right? And so if you're not vibing with the current system, you can create your own, or you can join another and be early, right? You don't always have to be a creator. You can be early to another project and kind of get lucky, or trust the founder, right? Let's say like a year ago, right, when CryptoPunks were like super expensive and there were a lot of people entering the NFT space and they were like, I'm not gonna spend like 15, 20K on a CryptoPunk. This is like so risky and I don't have money for that. And then when Bored Ape Yacht Club came out, a bunch of people bought that for like super cheap, and then they just held on to it, and then now a Bored Ape is like worth 100 ETH. I mean, that's like the craziest like outlier, like lightning in the bottle examples. That's what happens, right? When you hold a project in the ecosystem for the long run and then it just turns out to be that is the one that can completely change your life, right? So again, you don't have to join these big ecosystems and start at the bottom buying like the 3rd tier thing. You can find new ones, but then you take the risk of that project completely going to zero. And again, 99% of projects are gonna go to zero anyway. So you're really almost gambling in a sense, but if you have a bright eye and you kind of do your research and you really believe in the founder and you believe in a team and you contribute, then you maybe have a shot. And again, it's like, there's a lot of risk to it, but there's also a lot of reward. So you have to think about it carefully. And if you wanna learn more and talk through all those things, make sure to join the Parallax Discord. Link is in the description. Especially because we are going to be dropping a NFT picture profile alpha pass utility kind of thing coming out soon. More information on that later on. And so that said, that's it for this video. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and I will see you guys in the next one.